Hello, my lovely people, and welcome to Owen's Mind, a light-hearted trip through the contents of my head and the world in general. It is Wednesday, the 8th of April. My name is Owen, and here is what is on my mind today. So, I apologise for my pallid-looking visage. I don't know what's happening. It's something with the green screen, but in order to get the background not to artifact and get all kinds of horrible things in it, I've had to drop this down. It's just because of the time I'm recording this, and I use natural light, so that's the effect. So I apologise if I'm a little bit grey. I'm fine. I hope you're all fine. I hope everyone is keeping well. So, as usual, I've picked out 5 stories making the headlines I want to give my thoughts on. Links will be in the description below so you can read each article in full and show those original publications some love. So, without any further ado, let's get into it with story number 1. Story number 1 today comes to us from BBC News. So, it's coronavirus again, I'm afraid. Tesco tells people to visit stores to get food. So, this basically, they cannot keep up with the online demand. So, what they've said is, Tesco said that most food will still need to be purchased in-store amid the coronavirus pandemic. The supermarket giant said it wasn't able to meet demand as more shoppers stay at home, despite the fact that it's increased its online grocery shopping capacity by more than 20%. It said in the first weeks of the virus there was significant panic buying with sales of almost a third, but that had now subsided with food stocks returning to normal. It said between 85 and 90% of all food bought will require a visit to store, and here significant changes to the store environment have been implemented to maximise safety for colleagues and customers. That was Chief Executive Dave Lewis. He said the chain would continue to try and prioritise home delivery for the most vulnerable in society, which is brilliant. The statement came as the chain reported a sharp fall in pre-tax profit for the year at the end of February, almost down 19% to 1.3 billion, largely due to restructuring costs in Europe. The chain also said that it was impossible to forecast sales for 2020 due to the coronavirus pandemic. Yeah, so predictions going forward are kind of off the table because we just don't know where things are going to go. Tesco said the virus could add almost $1 billion in extra costs due to extra staff and store expenses. It said it had already experienced a significant absence of staff amid the virus and recruited more than 45,000 new staff over the past 2 weeks to cope with the heightened demand. The supermarket has also agreed to pay a dividend of 6.5 pence to shareholders, which has attracted some criticism as the grocer had benefited from the business rates holding to the tune of 585 million while seeing record sales during the coronavirus crisis. So yeah, there has been a little bit of backlash about that. But the general story is, look, if you need your essential items, most people are still going to have to go in store to get them because they just cannot meet the demand. Now, when all this started and people started panic buying, there was a lot of backlash from all the supermarkets online. A lot of people on Facebook and Twitter going, try to book an online shop and the delivery time is sort of 3 weeks. Thanks very much, say it's Rizal. Thanks very much, Tesco or Asda or whomever. And you're like, you failed to understand. You know what? They have got all these things. Home delivery has a cost, not to customer, to the supermarkets, because they have to have the staff. They have to have the pickers in the warehouse. They have to have the vehicles. All this has a cost. So you have enough support in your network to meet the demand. That's what you have. You wouldn't have 20 extra vans and 50 extra staff lying about just in case there's ever a massive surge in demand. Some surges can be predicted around Christmas, around holidays, around winter time, during periods of bad weather when people are more likely, sort of elderly and vulnerable people, are going to want deliveries. You can prepare for that. This, although we knew it was coming, several months in advance is not enough. You can predict Christmas. Christmas is going to be busy every year. You can plan for that 12 months out. You can't plan for this. So when people were coming down really hard on the supermarkets, it was like, it's not really their fault. They're doing the best they can. And they've said now, even with all the extra staff and all the extra things they've done, most people are going to have to go in store, but they've put measures in store, as all the supermarkets have, to maintain social distancing and protect the staff and protect the customers. And they are prioritising those vulnerable in society. So the elderly, disabled people who cannot easily get out or travel to the supermarket, they're going to get the priority for the home delivery, and the rest of us are going to have to visit store, as infrequently as possible. So, yeah, they're doing the right thing, and I just think we need to cut them some slack. They're doing an incredible job in a very difficult and fluid situation. And yeah, everyone's not going to be able to get an online shop as much as you want one. It's just not within their capacity at the minute. And I think people need to accept that and be a little bit more forgiving. A lot of this has died down now. I don't see it so much. but you know, it was out there, so I just thought it was worth mentioning. So there we go. Let's move on to story number 2. It's in BuzzFeed News. This is one completely off topic. Family shocked people by tossing their teen who has disabilities during a TikTok. Now they're assuring everyone she's just fine. Yeah, this is a weird one. So a large family and their something new TikTok challenge has gone viral for, let's say, unintended reasons. The Whitaker family is responding to a barrage of shocked reactions to the end of their TikTok, where the mum, Kim, is seen tossing their 40-year-old daughter, Abby, who has 1p36 deletion syndrome, a chromosome disorder that causes severe disabilities. So the family from Jacksonville, Florida is comprised of Kim and her husband Lee and their 8 children ranging from ages 5 to 22. Mum said Abby loves to be tossed just like any other child, and she laughs and she is just like every other child. This is what Kim told BuzzFeed. She's been my daughter for 14 years and I know her better than anyone. Her eldest daughter, 22-year-old Kaylee, told BuzzFeed News she was sitting on the couch 2 feet away from Abby at the end of the TikTok to catch her. She also confirmed Abby laughed and is fine. So if you watch the video, what it is, it's the family, they kind of line up at the camera, do a little dance, and then one peels off, and then the next child comes along, does it, and peels off. And when it gets to the end, it's mum and the daughter. And the daughter has this 1p36 deletion syndrome. She has some sort of body brace on, and her movement is restricted. So the mum kind of puppeteers the arms a little bit and then just throws her off camera, and the video ends. And people have just gone nuts about this. Now, the family's come out and said, look, you know, just off camera, she's essentially passing her safely into the arms of my eldest daughter. It's fine. You don't see that on the video. And it's also a very valid point that, you know what, I know my kid better than anybody. And, you know, just why should she miss out? Anyway, let's carry on reading a little bit. I'll get back to this. So despite the family's assurances, their video skyrocketed in views and engagements over the past few days because people were seemingly shocked by what they saw. It's now been viewed about 5 million times and has over 14,000 comments. Most of the comments are visceral reactions to being gobsmacked, speechless, and otherwise humoured. Some joke that they're going to report the video to Child Protective Services. However, a group of commentators was seriously concerned for Abby's well-being. She should not have been thrown. That last part wasn't funny. At one point, according to the family, the video was actually removed from their family page, with the assumption being that people reported the video enough to trigger TikTok's algorithm. Neither Kaylee nor Kim could recall when it was pulled down, but after Kaylee appealed the report last week, they said it was recently restored. BuzzFeed has reached out to TikTok to learn more. So yeah, the thing for me with this is, it's a family having fun. And if the little girl at the end of it was perfectly fine, was not visually disabled in any way, and she was thrown off camera, you know, nobody would have said anything. So the bugbear here is clearly the fact that she has a disability and they feel it's cruel to do it to her. However, these parents have lived with this child for 14 years. They know her inside and out. They know what she likes to do. They know safely what they can do, how they can maneuver, and how her disability affects her. And they just thought, you know what, she likes being thrown about like any kid. You know, when they're young and you don't throw them as such, but a bit rough and tumble, and I kind of, with my little boy, used to kind of fake wrestle onto the bed and sofa cushions, and you know, it's fun. It's like that. And I don't see the fact that this child has a disability should exclude her from that. You know, it feels a lot like people commenting have got this desire to think that she's lesser and she should be wrapped in cotton wool and she should be made to feel different. Whereas what the family did sort of made her feel included, because she couldn't do the dance, the movement that all the other family members doing because her mobility is limited. So they thought, well, how can we include her in the video and do something funny, something that makes her laugh, because they said it makes her laugh. And the daughter who caught said she was laughing all the time we've done it. And it sounds like they've done it a lot. And, you know, it's something kids enjoy. But people have really kind of gone nuts on it and made their feelings known. So for me personally, you know, the parent knows the child very well. And it was all fun, and they put it in fun. Maybe it's a bit naive not to expect this kind of reaction, but yeah, for me, just let the kid have fun. She's got enough going against her in her life. She's got a loving family around her, and they're including her and, you know, and making her basically grow up to be as much as she can, just a normal, healthy little girl who happens to have this condition she's dealing with. we should praise that. And yet people might be concerned, but once the reassurances are out there, it's like, look, you know what, we apologise that you thought this was something it wasn't. This is what it actually is. It's now been explained. And I think that should be the end of it. There's no indications in that video that the child was, not completely complicit and enjoying what was going on. So there you go. Anyway, let's move on to story number 3. This is in the Mail Online. So Labour Mayor is kicked out of the party for saying Boris Johnson completely deserves intensive care coronavirus battle. Wow, yeah. So a Labour Mayor has been expelled from the party after she said Boris Johnson completely deserves his intensive care battle with coronavirus. Councillor Sheila Oakes, who is currently the Mayor of Haina in Derbyshire, made the crass comments on social media. She said, "Sorry, he completely deserves this and is one of the worst PMs we've ever had." Miss Oakes later apologised unreservedly, but the Labour Party has now withdrawn the whip from it, effectively kicking her out. Mr Johnson was transferred to an ICU at St Thomas's Hospital in Westminster on Monday night as his symptoms worsened. He'd been admitted to hospital on Sunday and he had his second night there just yesterday. Miss Oakes will keep her seat until the next election, but she is now an independent politician. A spokesperson for the Amber Valley Labour group said, and I don't understand this at all, but here we go. Following comments from Councillor Oakes on social media, which we utterly condemn, the Amber Valley Labour group withdrew the whip this morning and can now announce that the whip has spoken to Councillor Oakes. I don't know what the whip is. This means that Councillor Oakes does not currently sit as a Labour councillor and further due process will follow. We wish the Prime Minister and all who are suffering with this awful disease a speedy recovery and send love and solidarity to them and their families. It would be inappropriate to comment further until due process has taken its course. Councillor Kevin Buttery, Conservative Group Leader on Amber Valley Borough Council, said this is an extremely worrying time for Boris and his family, friends, and in fact the nation. To say I find the comments of Councillor Sheila Oakes distasteful and abhorrent is an understatement. As a local mayor, she should be acting with a non-political way as she represents the town. This is clearly not the case in these circumstances. Miss Oakes is just one among many left-wing trolls who have targeted the Prime Minister with abuse on social media. Yes, there's been loads of abuse coming at him, so I'm not going to name the count. All the accounts are on there if you want to. I think it's, irresponsible of me to say, well, this person said this and this because I don't want you throwing abuse anyway. But some of the comments were, poor Boris, no, poor NHS, F that scruffy man. Stormzy said F Boris and coronavirus did the rest, and things like this. Boris Johnson in the ICU, F yeah, and you're like, but? So, 55-year-old Boris was transferred to the intensive care unit at 7 p.m. because of breathing difficulties, forcing him to deputise Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab to take the reins of government. So another of his defenders, Piers Morgan, has slammed Twitter users celebrating the fact that Boris Johnson is in intensive care as he battles coronavirus. On today's Good Morning Britain, host Piers Morgan told them to just shut up in a furious tirade. He said, to those people on social media who can't find it in themselves to be positive for the Prime Minister right now, who want to abuse him, if that's your mindset, just shut up. Nobody wants to hear this. Nobody wants to hear trolling against Boris Johnson. Just stop it. Honestly, it's beyond imagination that should be your thought process. The man's fighting for his life. This came after he waded into a Twitter row last night saying, if you have nothing positive to say about Boris Johnson here tonight, then shut the F up. This man is our Prime Minister and he's fighting for his life. All true. I don't agree with Piers on everything, but he's kind of like, take the politician out of it. Take the fact he's the PM out of it. Boris Johnson is a human being. He is a man, and a man has family. He has people who care about him, and he is now suffering something which we know has very detrimental effects. Some people come through it fine. He is not. He's now had to go into intensive care, which is bad, and it's a worrying time for his family. What his family don't need is people going, yeah, he deserves this, because he doesn't. No one deserves this. There is people politically and from many walks of life whom I disagree with from a political level, a moral level, whatever it happens to be. I disagree with a lot of people because people are individuals. I don't wish harm on them because I disagree with them. You don't think what I think, so bad stuff for you. No. Anyway, bringing it back, there was a lot of kind of pushback on this from people saying good things. So let's have a few of those as well, just to kind of balance it out a bit. So newly appointed Labour Party leader Keir Starmer wished the PM last night, tweeting, terribly sad news, all the country's thoughts with Prime Minister and his family during this incredibly difficult time. The Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, said last night that he was praying for Mr Johnson's swift recovery. Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage tweeted, "I hope and pray for Boris Johnson to come through this ordeal quickly." Worried Britons have shown their support for the PM on Twitter using the hashtag Pray for Boris, with some suggesting that people turn out to clap for the Tory leader at 8 PM and show support similar to those that we did for NHS workers in recent days. Twitter user Dylan Hughes Moretti wrote, "Hang in there, Boris. Your friends, family, colleagues, and your country desperately need you." Tom Edwards said, "Mr Johnson, now more than ever in your lifetime, your country needs you. Come on, old boy, you've got this." So there has been a balance there. But let's go back to Miss Oakes, Sheila Oakes, and how this has come about. So it's got the actual tweet in there. Her tweet was a reply to somebody else. I think somebody, I can't remember it is in the article, but somebody said something about him, and she replied underneath going, you know, he deserves everything he gets. He's the worst prime minister ever. Okay. So 2 reasons why they've made the right decision. Number 1, and the primary reason is because it's a horrible thing to say. It's completely unnecessary. It's spiteful. The fact that you don't agree with his politics, fine, but you don't wish bad stuff on people. Number 2, if you didn't think as a Labour councillor that this would get taken and used against you, you were an idiot. So you don't deserve to be a councillor, because I want smart people making decisions about my life and the country. And if you didn't think in this day and age that saying something like that would not have had some sort of negative effect, you are stupid. Sorry, you just are. So reason number 1, don't say horrible things. You don't deserve being in your position. Reason number 2, you're an idiot. So you definitely don't deserve to be in your position. And point number 3, you are now not in your position. So life lesson. Maybe she'll learn from this. She did come out and apologise. But again, it's like all these things. They apologise after the fact. She didn't say this and then immediately pull it down and say, "I just said something there. It was really insensitive, horrible." Once she was called out on it, she's like, "Oh, yeah, of course I'm sorry." It always happens. People do bad things and they get away with it for years. Celebrities, politicians, people of power do bad stuff for years. And then they get caught and then they're like, "Oh, I'm so very sorry." It's like, no, you're not sorry at all. You're sorry because you've been caught. You were sorry that you were caught, because had you not been caught, this apology would not have happened. So there you go. Anyway, so let's move on. Story number 4. This is in the Mirror today. A postman filmed wiping his nose and rubbing it around a doorway amid the coronavirus pandemic. Okay, my last story will be funny. I'm going to start a little tonic, a little balm for all this negativity. Okay, but this one, I've got my angry background up. So, sickening footage shows a postman wipe his nose and rub it around a doorway while a person inside self-isolates. The clip has been doing the rounds on social media where viewers have expressed their outrage. Royal Mail said they have launched an urgent investigation after viewing the footage, which appears to have been taken on a door camera. The clip shows a postman approach the door, put a parcel through the letterbox before wiping his nose with his left hand and then wiping it on the railing, the door handle, and the wall to the letterbox. So yeah, this is not some grotty bloke who kind of sneezes into his arm and is like, you know what I mean? It's a very definite, this surface, that surface, this surface. It's not accidental. It's not just a bloke being a grotty bloke and just going, I'm just finding something to wipe it on. It's deliberate. It's this, then that, and then that. So just to give it some context, you just watch the video. It's on the thing. It says there is no indication of where the incident took place, but the postman appears to be dressed in a distinctive Royal Mail uniform. Several people have shared the video on various social media websites, and some have called for the police to investigate. Royal Mail have acknowledged the video publicly by replying to one person on Twitter saying they were aware of the footage and were looking into it. A spokesperson for Royal Mail told The Sun, Royal Mail was very sorry to learn about the incident and for any upset and distress it may have caused. It says we are in touch with the customer concerned, so they know who it is, and we are looking to offer them additional support. We have launched an urgent investigation, and once complete, appropriate action will be taken. This guy's losing his job, let's face it. Royal Mail takes the health and safety of its customers very seriously. We have already made a series of adjustments to our parcel handling procedures to offer our customers the greatest protection during this time. We expect the highest standards of behaviour from our people while out on deliveries and collections at all times. If any customer has any cause for concern, they should contact our customer service team with details so we can investigate. So, yeah, if you watch the video, there's just no excuse. There's no excuse. The person inside was self-isolating. The clip itself does not show you if. You can't really tell if somebody put a sign up, because you're encouraged to put signs up if you are self-isolating, so you didn't get people knocking on your door to basically say, look, I'm kind of in here, keeping myself to myself. If you've got anything for me, you can just leave it in the port, that kind of thing. It doesn't say if that's there, but it says a parcel is delivered. which I guess goes through the letterbox because it doesn't say he spoke to the owner. But it is like a doorbell camera, so you can see who's there. And as he turns away, like I say, he just wipes his nose and then just smears it around all these surfaces. And you're like, just why would you do that? Because you don't know you're being filmed. It's not like a prank, because the camera's obviously wasn't aware it was there. He's not playing up to the camera. He's not jokingly doing it because he maybe knows the owner. It's a very deliberate thing, and he doesn't know he's being watched. So it's not for anybody else's entertainment. It's just him being douchey. And then you kind of think, all right, a lot of people are like, so what? So what? This is what's what. And admittedly, this is a worst case scenario. Supposing 2 days from now he starts showing symptoms, and supposing the owner of that house came out and they're elderly and they'd use that handrail to get down the stairs onto the street, potentially could they catch it? Yeah, of course they could. That's why we've got to keep 6 feet apart. That's why you've got to wash your hands. That's why you've got to, clean your surfaces, because this thing can transmit from surface to surface. And that's how transmission is one of the routes this virus can get into people, into hosts, us. So potentially this person gets sick. Worst case scenario, this person could die from it. Now that is an extreme, of course it is. I'm not suggesting the guy should be charged with attempted murder or anything like that. No. But there could be a very negative consequence to his actions. And there was absolutely no positives to his actions. There is nothing positive to be gained from what he did. So anything that happens will be a negative thing. Lowest level, somebody's got snot on their railings and they have to clean their house and letterbox. That's the absolute thing. But there's not a single positive thing to come out of it. It was just, I don't know, just malice. Maybe there was a sign saying I'm self-isolating, so it's like, oh God, another one, I'm just going to have to leave this here. Maybe it was a bit, you know what I mean? Maybe there's that to it, but again, it's no excuse, especially what's going on, and especially that we know the damage this thing is doing. So, yeah, they clearly know it is because they've spoken to the customer. So they know the customer, so they know the post person who was on the route that day. So they've identified who it is, they've watched the footage, and they will make their decision based on their procedures. I'm guessing he's going to lose his job because I don't see how Royal Mail, even if they wanted to give him a disciplinary, can keep him at this point just because of the negative press, because there's now spotlights on the story. People know this has happened. If he is given a pass, he's put them in an incredibly difficult position. It's going to be incredibly hard for them to justify keeping him. And yeah, whatever happened to him, he did bring it on himself. There's no two ways about it. So, but hopefully, there is no negative effects health-wise to the person in the house. I don't wish harm on the postman, like I just said. I don't wish harm on anybody. But yeah, stupid thing to do. Stupid. Anyway, let's finish off with lighter fare, because I said we would. So let's cleanse our palates a little bit with all this negativity with something a bit more this. So smart toilet uses artificial intelligence camera to detect health conditions and anal print. This is in the Independent via MSN News. So yeah, smart toilet capable of detecting early warning signs of cancer and other serious diseases has been developed by scientists in the US. Researchers at Stanford University built the device using upward-facing camera, test strips, and artificial intelligence to analyze feces and urine as they pass through. The disease-detecting technology could negate traditional stool tests and prove particularly useful for people who are genetically predisposed to certain conditions. It involves retrofitting an ordinary toilet with all the necessary gadgets to perform the tests, together with a companion app that analyzes the data and displays the results. The researchers who developed it hope it will one day be part of the average home bathroom. The toilet falls into the category of technology known as continuous health monitoring, which includes devices like smartwatches and fitness trackers. The smart toilet is unique from other continuous health monitoring devices in a number of ways, including its ability to identify each individual through their unique anal print biometric data. We know it sounds weird, yep, but it turns out your anal print is unique. Yeah, you've got a unique anal print. Imagine how different CSI would be. we found an anal print at the scene. When they bring some suspect in and bend him over and drop his strides and get a big roll with income and then just blat him up against a big piece of A4. There you go. Unique anal print. But apparently you've got them. Our concept dates back well over 15 years. When I'd bring it up, people would sort of laugh because it seemed an interesting idea, but also a bit odd, said Sanjeev Gambhir, the Stanford professor behind the toilet. The thing about a smart toilet is, unlike wearables, you can't take it off. Everyone uses the bathroom, there's really no avoiding it, and that enhances its value as a disease-detecting device. Fair point. Professor Gambhir said the toilet should not be seen as a replacement for a doctor or even a diagnosis, and that ideally data would send privately to healthcare professionals to determine any necessary action. We have taken rigorous steps to ensure that all the information is de-identified when it is sent to the cloud, and that the information when sent to healthcare providers is protected under your Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. He said, the smart toilet has already been tested on 21 people over the course of several months, and it is hoped that it will be able to monitor up to 10 different health conditions and diseases, including diabetes, heart disease, and some cancers. One of the biggest challenges will be user acceptance. Though a survey of 300 prospective users found that 37% of people were somewhat comfortable and 15% were very comfortable with the idea of using it for health reasons. The technology is detailed in a paper published in the scientific journal Nature Biomedical Engineering. A press release from Stanford University accompanying the paper stated, users must make their peace with a camera that scans their anus. And there you go. Make peace with it. But for me, okay, it's kind of, I can see the benefits of it. But there's an app on your phone that basically says, how much does it track? So if it can tell from sort of analysing what comes out of you, potential markers that are going to, relate to a disorder or an illness, okay, fine. I just don't want to feel like my toilet's judging me. If I sit down and you go to the loo, I don't want the app going, pizza and beer again, was it? And you're like, no, really? Don't judge me, toilet. What you're eating now, that's gonna give you diabetes. I'm like, oh, mate, toilet, shut up. So, but yeah, it's kind of odd. There's technology is moving in leaps and bounds. It absolutely is. But I think there's a certain point where it's like, I don't know. Do we need this? Maybe we do. I don't know. I'm not overly comfortable with having a camera permanently pointed at my backside. Must be a horrific view. And again, it's technology, and it's got Wi-Fi because it's going to send stuff encrypted to your healthcare facility. Okay, we all know that home tech can be hacked. Now, I'm not sure how secure this is, but we know baby monitors have been hacked. We know that even smart fridges and things can get hacked. What if somebody hacks your toilet and then you just get blackmailed? You'll get an email and you'll open it up and there'll be you'll say, we want 200 Bitcoin and we'll send a video of your flabby backside squatting down onto this toilet. Oh my God, I can't imagine. Anyway, so there we go. That's the thing. It's coming down the line. We're all going to have smart toilets. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, so that's it, guys. Links to all the stories I've discussed can be found in the description below, so feel free to go and check them out. Let me know what you think about this video and tell me, would you have one of these toilets installed at home? Or can you think of anything else that might kind of partner with any other kind of health thing that you do, any kind of function like showering or this way, you think this kind of technology could enhance that and enhance your well-being? Answers in the comments, please, along with the thoughts you'd like to share. These are mine. They're not necessarily important. They're not necessarily right or wrong. They're just what was on my mind. So until next time, bye for now.